Hi guys, welcome to another episode of People Skills One-on-One. Today we're talking about the 2 things that are hurting you when you talk to people. Let's do it. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of People Skills One-on-One. Today we're talking about the 2 things that hurt you when you are talking to other people. But first, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, subscribe. We're doing videos on people skills every single week. So the first thing that is hurting you when you are talking to other people is number 1, you're being self-focused. This is huge. Most people in life, when they're having conversations with other people, aren't really listening. They're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about what the other person is saying based on what they're feeling, how they feel about what the other person is saying. And this hurts communication because it is only one-sided. Communication is supposed to be two-sided. So you're supposed to be able to have one person and another person, and you're sharing thoughts and you're sharing ideas, and it becomes a connection. There's connectivity, there is more ideas present because both people are communicating back and forth. But what happens is when you're self-focused, you're always internalizing things based on your world and your perceptions. And while that is important to bring to the table, if you are 90% self-focused and only 10% engaged in what the other person's saying, it hurts the conversation at such an immense amount. The drop-off rate for a conversation based on someone being self-focused will be vast, in the sense that if someone's having a conversation with a human being and they're having a conversation with another human being, and this human being is self-focused, the elongated rate of that conversation would be possibly 1 to 2 minutes. Because what happens is that person who is so self-focused will be sorting the situation always by themselves, and they'll bring it back to always, oh, this is what I did regarding the situation, this is what I did. Now, what happens is the conversation might not actually dissipate, it might not actually disappear, but the connectivity is gone. So, for instance, you might still see 2 human beings still talking to each other, but the meeting of the minds, the connection of the minds isn't there. It isn't present. There's no skills being present. There's no people skills being present because one party is being extremely self-focused. So let's get on to number 2. Number 2 is you want to be able to listen and self-reflect while the other person is talking. So what this means is you're listening to the actual words that they're saying. We do this a lot when we watch YouTube videos or we watch Instagram videos. Whatever we are watching and consuming, we actually listen. When we're watching something on TV, we listen to it, but when there's another human being present, we have a hard time because that human being is right in front of us and we're deciding one of 2 things. Are they a threat or do they actually love me? And when we're having those thoughts in our head, we are becoming so self-focused, like I was talking about in the step before. But what happens is if you're actually listening and you're actually understanding what the other person's saying and you're self-reflecting, you're able to gain a conscious amount of information based on what they're saying, and you can add value to their conversation. You become interested in what the person's saying instead of just internalizing it and making it about yourself. See, the greatest communicators listen very, very carefully because they want to understand the other person's world. This is very important when it comes to people skills and learning how to handle people. You need to understand how their world operates. Human beings were all made of the same stuff, but what's inside here, our experiences, our beliefs, our frame of references in our lives have created a different internalized world. So the greatest communicators, the people who can communicate well with other human beings, their goal is to understand what is going on in that world. They want to get in that world. They want to see what's going on. They want to see how that person operates. Because one of 2 reasons. They want to get in that world because they want to understand that person, and 2, they want to learn things. They know that someone else who has experienced something different has value and they can learn from that. And that should be the goal. That should be one of the many goals when you talk to people, that you can actually learn something and that you can actually understand and develop a deeper relationship with that person. And then let's go into like kind of a couple more bonus steps. Things that you want to stay away from is interrupting. It's rude. Stay away from it. There's no reason to interrupt people. We all do it. And a lot of it is more of a passion to share ideas, and I get that. But stop it. Stay away from it. Listen to what the actual person is saying. Listen, I'm guilty of it too. I get passionate all up and I get energized and I'm listening to other people. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what you're about to say. And doing that is a disrespect towards the other person's frame of reference, it's a disrespect towards their way of thinking and their way of life. See, what happens is when you're interrupting somebody, unconsciously you're saying, what you're about to finish, A, I already know, and B, I believe I can finish it better than you can. Regardless if that is your true intention or not, it can be a perceived notion that way. And it can be a perceived notion that way in many different cultures. So you need to be careful. Get in the habit of listening, really listening. And you want to be engaged. You definitely do want to be engaged. So if you're saying add-on words like yup, all right, I understand that. But remember, if you're silent and you're present and you're actually interested, you will be able to gain all the information that person is talking about. See, we've all had conversations with people who are scrolling through their phones and they're actually having a conversation with us. And we know the one thing that is happening. They are not present. They're not listening to us. They're not there. They're somewhere else in their mind. And if you listen to somebody, if you're truly listening to somebody, you don't have to add on words. You don't have to say the yup, all right, because you're not in another world. You're in their world and you're just listening. You're digesting all of that information. You're able to take that information, put it into your mind and say, okay, how does this make sense to me? What does this mean to me? What does this mean about them? And you're able to actually get all that information. So being present is huge and it's super important, especially in a day and age where we are not present. You know, people skills used to be something that was like, well, if you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't. But listen, shifting this concept of just actually listening to somebody, your ratio of learning people skills will go up immensely because most people in life today are not present. They're thinking about a million different things. We have so many different distractions going around in this whole entire world that people are distracted all the time. And the worst thing is they're distracted when it comes to relationships. They're distracted when it comes to talking to their business partner. They're distracted when it comes to talking to a customer, when they're talking to their loved one. Being present will set you so far away from the person who is not present. You need to start working on that right away. You need to start to be able to understand that I'm going to be present. And here's a couple tips if you want to be able to stay present during a conversation. Number one, look at the other person in the eyes. Listen to them and look at them directly. Understand what they're saying, get into their mind, and have the goal being, what does this person mean? Number two, when you feel your brain start to drift, and you will, bring it back to that person. Because our brains are hardwired to think and digest so many different things. And what happens is our brainwaves start to change when we're actually being present in a moment or not present in a moment. And I'm not gonna go into all of the different brainwaves that you are in or not in when you're communicating with someone, but the importance is to try to be present and to keep on going back. And once you're able to keep on recentering and going back to what the other person is saying, you will actually be able to get into a mode where you can just sit there and receive information. Your brain will start to slow down. You'll actually be able to just sit there and let the information absorb into you instead of just being like, well, what do they mean by this? And I was gonna say this, or what if they said that this way? That might be a better way to communicate things. And I get it. It's hard to stop. It's hard to stop doing those things. I have a hard time doing it too as well. But if you're actively trying to be present, you will make a world of a difference. So that's it, guys. Those are my tips on things that you're doing that are hurting yourself and it's hurting the communication when you talk to people. If you like the video, please like it, comment, and subscribe for more tips on people skills every single week. Put a comment below what you would like to see in the video, what you would like to see in future videos, what you would like to see maybe more topics on, and we'll dive into them, guys. I'm all about getting into the most absorbing information I can possibly get. Thank you again, guys, so much for watching. Remember, the more you learn about people, the more you'll learn about yourself.